What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. We're back with a coupe today. Pretty much what we're going to be doing more and more is just prepping this now. Like the last video you saw, we took the car to the shop. We made sure that the supercharger itself was going to be able to be bolted up and all that good fun stuff. Well, now the car is back in my garage, and we are pretty much just going to make a list of everything that we need to do to get this thing running, and not just the supercharger itself, but we're also going to clean up this engine bay a little bit more, especially since the last time where I painted the bay, and I know some of you don't like the way I painted the bay, but the engine is going to be actually coming out, and a lot of that is because we're going to be doing some upgrades to the engine. So with that being said, we're going to run through a little list of everything that we need to do, and then we're going to start tearing some stuff apart. I've already actually started tearing things apart, so we're going to tear it more apart. And yeah, so the big thing that especially right now, because I'm waiting for car parts to just show up now at this point, we're going to be tucking some things away. We're going to be just kind of making it more appeasing to the eye, and then I wanted to explain to you guys, I guess, why I'm doing some of the things I'm doing, and a whole lot of the reason why we're tucking things and doing this is, for the most part, is because it plays a purpose, because some of the stuff is actually in the way of the supercharger, and it'll just make things a whole lot easier. So I'm going to get into that. All right. So, I mean, as you can see, the radiator's out. The radiator's back at the shop because it is actually going to be getting AN fittings, because the hoses are not going to be lining up right, and then also the bottom hose is going to be pressed up against this bracket and the bottom of the supercharger itself. So we're going to be doing AN fittings. This piece is going to come off, and then this piece back here is going to come off to have like AN fitting rungs along with the radiator itself. I'm not going to go to a tucked radiator just yet, because I was told that I might have some heating issues versus having like a full-size radiator. Another thing, 70 mil throttle body is mocked up. The big thing that we're going to have to do on this is, you can see that there's a lip in there, and we're going to have to Dremel the inside of this intake manifold to be able to match the 70 mil throttle body. Another thing that you may see is I'm going to actually be tucking my fuel rail, and I'm hoping for that part to come in so then we can do like an install video on that. The fuel filter itself is actually going to be getting in the way of the blow-off valve from the charge pipe in the cooler. I guess you could call it a charge pipe. I'm really not too sure what we call it in a supercharger. It's not really a root style supercharger, it's a centrifugal. So I'm guessing it's like the intercooler part, charge pipe. I'm guessing you can call it that way. Anyways, you know what I'm talking about. So we're going to be doing a tucked fuel system, because the OEM fuel filter is actually going to be in the way. Let's see here. I really should write all this stuff down on a piece on the whiteboard, but okay. Anyway, I'm just gonna go through the list of stuff, and then we'll go from there. And since we're also going to be tucking the fuel system, as you can see, I've taken out the hard line out for the clutch, and part of it's still hanging off right there. We're going to have to tuck the clutch line, mostly because these two bolts, one have to be used for the bracket for the supercharger, but at the same time, the hard line that goes from the frame, goes along the frame and goes across here by a hose, and then has another hard line to the slave cylinder, that bracket is actually in the way of the supercharger. So we're just going to have to run a clutch line, and while we're doing that, we're going to do an S2K clutch that's going to drop this further down there, and it's going to kind of tuck that away, and then it's just going to have like a stainless steel line that goes across. Now that's most of the stuff that is going to be out of the necessity of doing it. We're going to have to do this because just it's needed to do for the supercharger. I didn't want to do a tuck originally, but things are starting to snowball. So if I want to tuck those two things, another thing I'm going to do is that I want to go ahead and tuck the headlight harness on both sides, mostly just because it'll be clean and there'll be less wires everywhere, and to me it'll be a little bit more appeasing to the eye, because once you put the supercharger on, it's going to be very cluttered, and there's going to be a lot. It's going to be very busy. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Another thing we're going to do is we're going to flip the brake booster so that the vacuum line is on the bottom, so it kind of hides that a little bit more too. What else? What else? Well, I can't forget about the actual engine itself. So obviously the engine's going to be coming out. The way I'm probably going to do this is I'm probably going to take the head off, because I want to put ARP head studs in, and then take the block and the transmission, and then like scoot it out in front. I'm not too sure how that's going to, I might not film that just because whatever reasons, or I might just take it back to the shop and have them do it. I haven't really made my decision on that yet, but we're going to do ARP head studs, which is right here. ARP head studs and a Moroso pan. That's really the only things that for right now that this engine is going to be receiving. Well, I can't forget about the engine itself. I'm going to be doing some ARP head studs and a Moroso oil pan. The reason why I'm doing the Moroso is because it has the AN bungs already on in there, and I really don't want to have to deal with welding more than I have to. So I got it for a good deal, so that's why we're doing it. And then obviously the ARP head studs. Injectors, we are going with 1000cc FIC injectors with a hybrid racing fuel rail at the same time. So there's going to be plenty of fuel for this engine to match the amount of air that will be pushed through it. I wanted to address one comment that was being made. It's like, oh, you're building a Vortech GSR and you have a Type R, you're balling. I'm like, I am not a baller. I find deals. I work really hard to get these things, and sometimes they're not the best financial decisions, and I sell a lot of my things to be able to afford this other stuff. And at the same time too, I was told a long time ago, actually not that long ago, that if you don't do something and go out and grab it, you're going to regret it for the rest of your life. And that's why this year I'm making YouTube videos, because I actually genuinely enjoy doing this, and I just want to build cars. I want to build cars for my life, and to me it's fun, and it's like a giant puzzle. Don't get me wrong, I love my job that I do, my normal 9 to 5, but at the same time, like, I would love to just make this a full-time thing. And I know this is a very small channel right now. We have less than 1,000 subscribers, but I believe in myself, I believe in you guys, and I believe that I can relate to normal people, because let me change my phone here, because I'm building a 90s Honda in my garage. So but that's just a normal PSA. Anyway, let's go ahead and let's get in the house, and we're going to write this list of things to do. All right, so to recap, we are going to actually be making a list of all the items that we need to do to the car. And so this is just going to be like a recap of everything that I went and I talked about in the garage. So parts that we were waiting for: fuel line tuck, the clutch line tuck. So we're going to go ahead and list those items. I'm going to put the fuel line tuck. All right, so the other thing that we're going to be doing is that we're going to be tucking the headlight harness. And I can't write to save my life, so deal with it. Okay, the engine block itself is going to be getting in the oil pan and the ARP head studs. So I'm going to put engine, ARP studs, and oil pan. Alright, I think I put the pen. Whoopsies. Alright, so fuel line tuck, clutch tuck, headlight harness tuck, ARP head studs, oil pan. Let's see, what else do we got? Oh, how can I forget? The big one, we actually have to make, we have to do the radiator AN lines. And then for the actual charger itself, let's move on to the charger itself. So the piping for the intercooler and everything is actually being welded. I should be getting that back shortly. The other thing that we need to do is set up the water pump for it, like set up the actual like cooling pump and the coolant lines. So we're gonna do the coolant lines, the pump, and the reservoir. And I can't spell, so I don't know if I can spell, so I just put a question mark there. Let's see here, what else do we need? Obviously we need the tune itself. That's gonna, album mark here is ready to tune. Currently that is set to no. The other thing, oh, also under the engine, we need to put it in the fuel, put in the fuel pump, the new fuel pump. Engine will also get the fuel rail, and injectors. I know that this list is probably going to get bigger as we go along with this project, but this looks like it's going to be the main stuff to get this GSR off the rails and ready to go get tuned. I might be adding a oil cooler to it. The block does have its own like OEM cooler that uses the coolant lines, but I might add an external one with a chase bays like sandwich plate, thermostatic plate, and whatnot. But I think in the meantime, I think this is good enough. Alright guys, well now that everything is written down, we are going to go ahead and end the video here. This video was mostly just to recap everything that we need to do. Now that everything's written down, we're going to we have a path forward, and we're going to pretty much just go with that. I mean, it's really based on time constraints about when I'll be able to work on the car, as well as when I get the parts in to complete it. We're going to do some videos on the Type R and how that car came into my possession, and now that I've had it for a few months. I'm absolutely starving, so I'm going to go ahead and make myself some dinner, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. We're building our dreams here, and I know that sounds like a really catchy phrase or whatever. I'm not really trying. I genuinely mean it. We're building dreams here, and we're going to go after it every single day. We're going to work hard, 110%. So with that being said, if you like this video, if you want to see more of the Vortech build, if you want to see more of the Type R, let me know in the comments below. Please like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.